math has been driving you crazy, or if you're finally admitting you're lazy and your test grades have been dropping, it's time to get your arrows popping.
Hello, everybody. This is Mr. Witt with Fort Bend Tutoring, and today's tutorial is going to be in 8th grade mathematics final exam review. You can also call it the second semester review for 8th grade math. And we're coming in live. That's right. FBT is in the house, and we're here to help out those in need. We have Lion Irvin in the house talking about I love you, Mr. Witt. Mr. Witt, I love you, Lion. Thank you for joining in today. And we will be getting this thing underway, preparing more of you to finish school with a bang. That's right. So we've already taken care of a few of our college students. That's right, with the previous one being on college algebra, but now we're looking at 8th grade math, and then we're going to get into some high school final exam reviews. As you're coming in, go ahead and chime in and say hello. Also, please like the stream. Go ahead and share it across the board, all to your social media, and we're going to keep things rolling. That's right, we're going to keep things rolling, and there it is. Lion Irvin says that Carlos loves me as well. All right, welcome, and love you right back to you. All right, so let's get things underway here. We have problem number 1, where we have Carrie walks 3 miles each day. How far will she walk in 7 days? All right, well, this sounds like a proportion to me. It sounds like a proportion to me. And the reason why I say this is because they gave us a standard. They're telling us that Carrie will walk 3 miles, all right, in 1 day. Okay, so that's what they're referring to as they tell us that Carrie walks 3 miles each day. And so we're setting up our ratio. That's right, 3 miles per day. Lion Irvin says, I got a 100 on my algebra test. Thanks for the help, Mr. Witt. You are welcome. Let's get some more A's coming down the pipe, guys. I've been getting a lot of messages from you guys on your final exams, and it's sounding great. So we just already had a few people like Polly King come in and let me know that he made an A on his final exam as well. And let's make sure that some of these 8th graders will make A's on their final exams as well. So we started out with our ratio of 3 miles for every day. And what they want to know is how far will she walk in 7 days? So if you're going to start out your proportion with miles on tops and days on the bottom, notice that we have our miles on top in the numerator. We have our days in the denominator. We're going to continue that trend. It needs to be consistent. So if you put miles on top initially, you need to have miles on top here. So I don't currently know. So I'm going to use a variable x for my unknown value in the numerator. But I do know she will walk 7 days. Okay, so if we were to simplify this, or rewrite it rather, we could say that this is 3 over 1 equals to x over 7. Okay, and there's several ways to solve for x in this case. We can show that 1 was multiplied 7 times in order to get 7, so therefore we would have to multiply the numerator by that exact same value. So 3 times 7 will tell us that Carrie would walk 21 miles in this case. That's one way to do it. Or you can use the extremes means method. So you can take this ratio of 3 over 1, set it equal to x over 7. And now that we have a fraction set equal to another fraction, let me get that chat out the way there. You can get your arrows popping and cross multiply here. So you can say that 1 times x is x, and 3 times 7 gives you 21 miles. Done. And here we are going to red box it. That's right, guys. So we're putting a red box around our solutions here. So here we're showing that we got an equivalent fraction on the left side here. That's the way we approached it. And on the right side, we use the extremes means method, aka we cross multiplied in order to solve problem number 1 with proportions. Amen, amen. All right, let's move on to our next problem here. In our next problem, it says, what are the coordinates of the image of the point 79 after a 90-degree counterclockwise rotation? Well, admittedly, ladies and gentlemen, I do not have this stuff memorized. Oh, no, I do not. So we're going to take reference to our rotation template right here, where I'm showing that with a 90-degree rotation that is counterclockwise, you would end up reversing, okay, your x and y values. You're going to take the opposite of the y value, rather, put that first, and then take your x value and put it second in your ordered pair. So if we start out with the fact that we have our 0.79, and we will label that as our x and our y values, as every ordered pair is. The first value is the x value, the second value is the y value. In order to implement this 90-degree counterclockwise rotation, according to our list here, it says that our first value after the rotation would be the opposite of the y value. So the opposite of this 9 here will give you -9. And then our x value will become our new y value. And this is going to be the result after the 90-degree counterclockwise rotation. And because I don't have everything memorized here, guys, I went ahead and did you a favor and wrote down the rest of the rotations for a counterclockwise rotation there. All right. So if you need to have that information memorized, I put them all there for your viewing pleasure. That's right. So we have the 90-degree rotation here, 180-degree, 270-degree, 360-degree rotations in play. All right. And this is bothering me. I forgot my degree symbols right here. So we're going to hook that up. And we red boxed it, guys. That's exactly what happened. Let's keep it moving. That was problem number 2. For problem number 3, it says that Andre will install. Okay. It's not instant, guys. This is not ramen noodles here. No, it's not. This should be install. Thank you. Appreciate that. Now that we have that correction, let's go ahead and read it. It says that Andre will install carpet in his bedroom. The floor in Andre's bedroom is square with an area of 65 square feet, which is closest to the length in feet of each side of Andre's bedroom floor. Well, since we're dealing with, what's going on, Superior Stealth? What is going on with you? So since Superior Stealth said, yeah, thanks, man. Alexis Gifford says, I'm going to. Oh, no, Alexis. Let's not put that in the chat there. Come on now. Let's play fair. Okay? So let's go ahead and remove that because that's interesting. So let's get back to our problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to say that we are looking for the formula for the area of a square. The formula for the area of a square, guys, is area equals the side squared. That is what we have here. And now that we have that, we want to solve for the length of the side. Okay, so which is closest to the length in feet of each side of Andre's bedroom floor? In order to solve for that, knowing that the area is 65 square feet and we would be solving for a side, we would need to be finding out the square root of 65. Okay, that's how we'll go ahead and solve for this. So assuming that the length of the side would be at the least 0 and definitely a positive number, we can leave the s as an s. But we also want to find out the value of this square root of 65 now. And the way we can approach this is as follows, okay? We can go ahead and do the following. Let me go ahead and move this out of the way first, guys, so we can have some room to work with. Here we go. Let us come over here and get it going. Oh, my goodness, really? Let's go ahead and come out and come back in because the technology... Always a problem with the technology, guys. All right. So here we have it. We already just said that we would end up with the side being equivalent to the square root of 65. So what do we do with that? With the square root of 65, guys, this square root of 65 is not a perfect square. So what we want to use is perfect squares to guide us toward the correct answer. Remember, we're supposed to be closest to the length. We don't need an exact length. So if we're going to be doing this by hand, what's going on, Angry Hermit? How you doing? We're going to utilize the fact that the closest perfect square to the square root of 65 is going to be the square root of 64. And we know that that value will be less than the square root of 65. The next perfect square in line would be the square root of 9 squared, which is 81. So we know that the result of the square root of 65 would be between, what's going on, Empress Hodge, would be between 8, which is the square root of 64, by the way. And it would also be less than 9. But notice that our value of the square root of 65 is closest to, what's going on, Kyle, is closest to the square root of 64. Therefore, our closest result, our closest integer to the square root of 65 must be the answer 8. Okay, so you don't need an exact value of the square root of 65. You just needed to know, in reference to our perfect squares that we do know the result of, where the square root of 65 would lie. And definitely the square root of 65 is closest to the square root of 64, which we already know the answer to that would be 8, because 64 is a perfect square. So that's how you can do that on the fly without having to round to the nearest tenth or anything like that. You can just use your frame of reference to your perfect squares that you should already be familiar with, and know that the square root of 65 is definitely closest to the square root of 64 rather than the square root of 81. And there it is. That's the answer. That's problem number 3. The answer is 8. Done and done. And moving on to problem number 4 with more words. A lot of words. We have Kevin moved from a city to a small town, guys. The population of the city is 6 times 10 to the 5th power. This is in scientific notation, guys, because the first factor of this number is a number between 1 and 10, and the second factor is a power of 10, which is about 15 times as great as the small town. Which expression could represent the approximate population of the small town? Well, what we do know is that the small town is the larger city rather is 15 times as great as the small town. So let's say that the small town is our value of x here, or let's just call it y. All right, and we know that 15 times this amount is going to give us the result of the city, which at this time is 6 times 10 to the 5th power. Okay, so in order to solve for our small town's population, we can divide both sides by 15. But lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, you should recognize that you are dealing with scientific notation divided by the standard notation number. Well, let's go ahead and put both values into scientific notation. So the way you can do that is, first of all, our numerator is already fine the way it is, right? It's 6 times 10 to the 5th power. But to put 15 into scientific notation, you'll need to take this decimal that's behind the 5, move it one place to the left to rewrite this as 1 5/10 times 10 to the 1st power. Yeah, and this is going to give us our answer. So dividing these two scientific numbers, the first being 6 times 10 to the 5th power, by the 1 5/10 times 10 to the 1st power will give us the answer that we need. All right, so let's move on to the next page here and continue this process. So here I'm showing that I have the 6 times 10 to the 5th power divided by 1 5/10 times 10 to the 1st power. We're going to divide our first factors together. Going crazy here. There we go. We're going to divide our first factors together, and we're going to divide the second factors together. All right, those powers of 10. That's what we're going to do. So 6 divided by 1 5/10 will give us what value? Well, if you don't know what that is, let's figure it out. 6 divided by 1 5/10. All right, let's show where my decimal is. Go ahead and move that over. We'll move that over once, right? And then 15 will go into 60 4 times. So 6 divided by 1 5/10 is 4. All right, let me get my lie right. Then it's going to be times 10 to the what power? Well, when you're dividing like bases, guys, you subtract the exponents. So the 5 minus the 1 gives us 10 to the 4th power. And this is your answer right here. This is the population of the small town. Done and done. Yeah. And if they were writing their answer, let's say in standard notation, you know that you would just need to move this decimal 4 places to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4 places to the right. Yeah. We would end up with 40,000. So 40,000 is the population in standard notation. All right. So there you have it for problem number 4, ladies and gentlemen. All right, well, good stuff. Good stuff. We're going to move on to problem number 5. Oh, yeah. So once again, guys, if you're coming in late, just letting you guys know that we are dealing with the 8th grade mathematics final exam review. You could also look at it as the end of course exam review for 8th grade mathematics. Yeah. Or you could look at it as the second semester exam for 8th grade. Yeah. So that's what that's what we're doing right now, guys. So we're going over a lot of information, a lot of pre-algebra, and some algebra, you can very well say. And we'll have some sprinkles of some geometry in there, as well as some other mathematics. And this particular problem right here deals with direct variation, believe it or not. So direct variation in 8th grade. Times are changing. And so it says in an equation, y varies directly with x. If x equals 8 when y equals 17, what is the value of x when y equals 85? Well, in a problem like this, you need to be aware that direct variation follows the form y equals kx, where k is the constant of variation. Saya is in the house. That's going on. How you doing, Saya? Glad you're joining in with us today. Let's go ahead and get that back on the screen here. All right, here we go. So, Saya says, oh yeah, I love this. There you go. So what we're going to do is we need to recognize that K is our constant of variation, and we can set up our initial equation with the standard that they gave us. They said that if X equals 8 when Y is 17, that'll allow us to solve for the constant of variation. So I can write the equation initially as 17 equals K times 8. And that's me just replacing the y and the x values with what they gave me within the problem. Once I have this, oh, I'm doing good, Saya. Thank you, good. JP's in the house, just chiming in to say, Mr. Witt, you are a phenomenal teacher. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay. And I'm doing good, Anger Hermit. Okay, how about you? And so now we're going to be dividing both sides by 8, guys. So we'll get the constant of variation is 17/8. Once we get this values, guys, we can then write our variation equation. Yeah. And with the variation equation, I can take this value of k and write the equation as y equals 17/8 x. That's exactly what I can do. Yeah. Just like that. Now, let's go ahead and solve for the question now. It says, what is the value of x when y equals 85? So it's at this time that we're going to take our variation equation, this y equals 17/8 x, and what we'll do is we'll plug in the value of y that they gave us in this equation and solve for x. So we'll have 85 equals 17/8 x, and when solving for this particular equation, you can multiply both sides by the reciprocal of the coefficient. In other words, the flip of the number in front of the variable x. So the flip of that value is 8/17. Multiply that times each side of the equation to solve for x. And so it's going to look just like this, guys. That's right. So on the left side of the equation, we can simplify this. Knowing that 85 is over 1, you can say 17 goes into itself once. 17 will go into 85 5 times, and then multiply straight across to get 8 times 5, which is 40. And on the right side, all of this crap just cancels out. There you go. So the answer is 40. I'm putting a red box on around this. That's what I'm doing. Okay? So that is that problem. Yeah. It's done. And if you guys want to see problems like that, you can check out our video on our YouTube channel called Direct Variation for more examples of problems like problem number 5 there. There you go. Done and done. That was problem number 5. With problem number 6, we have a square is translated using the form, okay, x minus 4, y plus 2. And they say to describe the movement of the square on the coordinate plane as a result of the translation. So here they're translating an object, sliding it, you could say, across the plane, and they want you to give a description of what is occurring. Notice that we are going to be subtracting 4 from every x value that is in that graph. Whereas as far as the y values are concerned, we're going to be adding 2. Remember that your x values move left and right along the x-axis, whereas the y value moves up and down the y-axis, okay? So as far as describing the movement of the square, on the coordinate plane is concerned, we can say that we will have a horizontal translation. Yeah, it's going to slide 4 places to the left. Yeah, that's exactly what it's going to do. So we're going to say it's going to slide or have a horizontal shift. We'll say a horizontal shift. We'll say there will be a horizontal shift. All right. Shift 4 places left, or 4 units left, because I don't know my unit of measurement here. 4 units left. And I can also say that there's going to be a vertical shift 2 places up. Yeah, 2 units up. There we go. Be consistent there. Okay. So that's what's going on. That's all you got to do. You're just describing what's going on. If you're adjusting the x values by subtracting 4, then you're moving the shape 4 places to the left in this case. Whereas if you're going to add 2 to every y value, you're going to be shifting that up. That is what is occurring in that problem. Yeah. So that is problem number 6, guys. Problem number 6, and moving on. Yep. Check this out. With the transversals, guys, we have the transversals in play. Problem number 7. Given that x and y are both parallel, and this is the value of x and this is the value of y. There you go. So these lines are parallel to one another because of our description here. Use the figure below to answer the following questions. It says, what is the measure of angle 8? What is the measure of angle 3? And also they want to know, what is the angle relationship between angle 1 and angle 5? Well, what we see before us, guys, is a transversal line through parallel lines here. So we are already told that line X and line Y are parallel to one another. And because of that, there's going to be a lot of rules that we can use with this transversal line in play. All right. For one, we can deal with corresponding angles. We'll have things like alternate interior angles that can be used for us and all kinds of stuff. So the first thing we're going to discuss is the fact that we know that the measure of angle 8 is got to be the same as our measure of angle 8x plus 23. But let us find out what that is first. What's going on, Kaylee? How you doing? Good to see you, lady. So let's go ahead and figure out what we know already. And what I know already is the following. Let's go ahead and fill in some of these blanks here, guys. If they're telling us that this angle here is 55 degrees, then that means that angle 6 has to be 55 degrees based on your vertical angle rule. Okay? Then, because angle 5 and angle 6 are both linear pairs, then the difference between them has to equal to 180 degrees. All right, so both of those have to add to 180 degrees. So that means that angle 5 is 125 degrees, because 125 plus 55 will equal to 180 degrees. And that being the case, because of, once again, those vertical angle rules, angle 8 has to be 125 degrees. Yeah. It has to be 125 degrees, just like that. So we didn't even need this extra stuff here to figure that out. We figured out what that angle was just like that. Yeah. What's going on? So now we have, you said that, okay, so Angle Hermit says that angle 8 would be 65 degrees? No, I don't see that being 65 degrees. You see, it would have to be 125 degrees because these angles, angle 6 and angle 8, they have to add to 180 degrees. All right. I see you over there, Angry Hermit, cleaning it up. So now we'll go ahead and say that in this case that the measure of angle 8 is 125 degrees. And notice I didn't even need to use that variable there for that problem at all. I don't know what that's about. So we'll go ahead and say that this is 125 degrees. That's our value for angle 8. Now, as far as angle 3 is concerned, that is a corresponding angle to the original angle that they gave us. So remember, they told us that this angle down here was 55 degrees. Well, angle 3 is a corresponding angle to that, and it must be the exact same value. So angle 3 has to be this 55 degrees right here. Yeah. All right. There we go. Now, the last question says, what is the angle relationship between angle 1 and angle 5? Well, angle 1 and angle 5, let's see here. Angle 1 and angle 5, those are in the same locations in their clusters, right? So that means that they are corresponding angles, guys. This is corresponding angles. They weren't even ready for us. No, they weren't. I thought they had some serious problems for us today. They didn't see us coming. They didn't see us coming. We just killed that problem. That problem's dead now. It's dead to us. Yep. Done and done. And it's interesting how they set this angle up here with the 8x plus 23 degrees. Yeah. Was that just to throw us off then? What do you guys think? Was that to throw us off? Because we didn't even need that to solve this problem. I think they were trying to stress people out. That's exactly what I think. I am so moving on to problem number 8. Let's move on to problem number 8, where we are solving a linear equation. Angry Hermit says, remind me again what complementary angles are. No problem. Complementary angles are angles that add to 90 degrees. Angry Hermit with the question. Complementary angles add to 90 degrees, whereas supplementary angles will add to 180 degrees, Angry Hermit. All right, well, let's keep it pushing, guys. Solving this equation here, I think I'm going to inject a bit of laziness, if you don't mind, because you guys well know that I love to get my arrows popping, and I clearly see that I can do that with this problem here, in problem number 8. I can distribute that 8 with the arrows popping. I can distribute the 2 with the arrows popping, but I could divide everything by 2 and simplify this a little bit first. So, yeah. I think I'm going to do that first. Let's simplify this problem first. Let's do that, guys. I'm going to divide each term in the equation by 2 because I'm going to get my lazy on. That's exactly what I'm going to do. And I know that 2 goes into 8 4 times. So I'm going to rewrite this as 4 times the quantity of x minus 10. Here, my 2's will just cancel out to leave me with x plus 60 equals 0. That's what I have. So the point of doing that step right there was to simplify the entire equation. See, I could have just initially started by multiplying everything by 8 in that first set of parentheses, then multiplying by 2 in the second set of parentheses, but I wanted to be a little bit on the lazy side. So now I'm going to get my arrows popping only with this 4 right here. And I'm going to bring down this 4x minus the 40 plus x plus 60, and this equals to 0. From here, we will be combining our like terms. Oh, yes. So we have 4x plus x. That gives me 5x. Yes, it does. I will then combine negative 40 and 60 together to give me a positive 20, which equals 0. From here, we'll be solving for x by subtracting 20 to both sides of the equation. Oh, yes, we will. And we'll bring down that 5x to equal negative 20. And then from there, thank you, I'll be dividing both sides by 5. So the answer here is x equals negative 4, and I'm going to put a red box around this. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I have a red box around my answer. Thank you. That's right. That's problem number 8, guys. Done and done. So moving on to another problem. Another linear equation, guys, with a fraction this time. What a fraction. Imagine that. Now, there are several ways to solve this problem. And let me see. Which way do I want to do this? Yeah. What's going on, TV7? Good to see you. I need a refresh on this. No problem. That's what I'm doing here. Providing the refreshers for those in need. I think I'm just going to multiply everything by the common denominator. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Our only denominator in this problem, because this problem is 1/5 x plus 3 equals 10, I can just multiply everything by 5. Yeah. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to multiply everything by 5 because we're going to kill the fractions. In the first step, killing of the fractions. They got to die. Fractions must die. So therefore, the 5's will cancel out. I'll end up with x plus 15. This equals to 50. I mean, we are multiplying 5 times 10, by the way. That gives you 50. And then what you'll do from here, thank you, is subtract 15 to both sides of the equation. That's exactly what you'll do. Subtract 15 from both sides of the equation to get 35 and done. I have a red box coming. There's a red box on its way. Angry Hermit's in the house saying, I need a refresher for just about everything. Math is my worst subject. Oh, don't tell me that, Angry Hermit. After all these days you've been here learning with me, math can't still be your worst subject, can it? Okay. I got a red box around my answer. What you working with? That's what I thought. You better be putting a red box around those answers. Stop playing around. That's what you better stop doing. Problem number 10, guys. Problem number 10. Hi. This is problem number 10. Solve the system by substitution. Solve the system by substitution. Now, in a problem like this, in a system such as this with linear equations, guys, notice that they already have one of the variables solved for. They have y solved for. That's exactly what they have. So, because they already have one of the variables solved for, we can use that in the other equation. Angry Hermit says, no, I like math, but I didn't used to, so I never did it. Well, you can do it now, Angry Hermit. Okay. I'm going to plug in this value of y into the first equation. Yeah, I'll be replacing every occurrence of y in the first equation with the value of x minus 8. Yeah, that's exactly what I'll do. So rewriting the first equation, instead of writing y, I'm writing x minus 8. So I have x minus 8 here equals 3x minus 22. That's what we have, guys. And with this, we will be solving for x now by subtracting x to both sides of the equal sign. See, I like to focus on isolating my variables first, guys. So I'm using the addition property of equality. TV says, hey, I like math now too. I didn't at one time. I understand that. See, it's all a frame of reference, TV7. You can decide what you like and what you don't like, not the other way around. Don't let the people decide things for you, TV7. All right. You can decide them for yourself, sir. So you decide what you want to like. And sometimes, depending on the instruction, the way it's presented to you, you might not have been given the best look of math. So that's why you had a bad taste in your mouth about it. But if someone can show you that there's actually a benefit to you and it doesn't have to be a grind section every time you see it, then it's something that you can deal with, right? And then you start liking it over time, especially when you know what you're doing. So what happened here, guys, is I started out by subtracting x to both sides of the equal sign so that I could isolate the term with the variable. I bring down negative 8, which equals to 2x minus 22. Adding 22 to both sides, I end up with 14 equals to 2x. And you guys already know that x must equal to 7. It has to equal to 7. That's exactly what it does. So since x equals 7, we need to find out what our value of y is, guys. So finding out what the value of y is, notice that in this second equation, that y equals to x minus 8. Well, if x is 7, 7 minus 8, guys, gives us negative 1 as a result for y. So your y value is negative 1 and as an ordered pair. Because do not forget, guys, that these are two lines that are intersecting. All right, so that means that the two lines will intersect at a point. And your point has to be defined as an ordered pair. So I need to give my x value first, then my y value of negative 1. So the answer here, guys, let's get the chat out the way for a second, is going to be 7, negative 1, and I will red box it just like that. So that's how we use substitution to solve that. Brenda says, oh, yes, it can be hard, but you can teach an old dog new tricks. Yes, you can. Wish I had a teacher like you when I was younger. You still young, Brenda, and you do have a teacher like me. You using me right now. There you go. Let me teach you something. If I can, please. Brenda. All right. TV7 says absolutely. Let's move on to the next problem, guys. Let's see what they're talking about here in our next problem. In this 8th grade mathematics final exam review. All right, Angry Hermit says, I think many people don't like math because the school system forces you to learn it. I do think it's pretty important, though, Angry Hermit. And last time I checked, not too many school districts had guns to their children's heads. So there's some voluntary aspect on that. All right, you may want to talk to your parents about the forcing part. All right, I don't think they're scooping you up from the house just yet. It depends on how crazy those truant officers are in your neighborhood, right? Problem number 11. It says all vertical lines have a slope of blank, while all horizontal lines have a slope of, you guessed it, blank. So what goes in our first blank here? when you're dealing with vertical lines, every vertical line has an undefined slope. In other words, it's just undefined. Yeah, there is no slope for vertical lines. It doesn't have a slope. Yeah, you could just literally say it has no slope. You could say that. However, every horizontal line has a slope of 0. There you go. That's it. Yeah, that was problem number 11. Yeah, it says all vertical lines have a slope that is undefined. Yeah, okay, so that's that answer. I don't like that D. Let's fix it. Let's fix it. Let's fix it. There we go. Let's fix that. There we go. And then it says all horizontal lines have a slope that is 0. There you go. There you go. Think 2 TDM. How you doing? Hello there. Nice of you to join us today. Think 2. All right. So then Angry Hermit says, no, if you want someone to learn, you have to simply introduce them to the subject, not force them. When you force people, it creates stress. Yeah, I can kind of agree with that, Angry Hermit, but there are some. I mean, you're not going to completely avoid stress in life, but you can also teach children, young adults, and adults how to manage their stress. All right. Dealing with stress is part of everybody's development, and it's in and of itself, Angry Hermit. All right. So learning how to be able to deal with stress positively, okay, is a good thing. Okay. So it's not that we shouldn't avoid the stress at all. All right. Just learn how to deal with it. Right. There you go. Okay, so here's the deal. We're on problem number 12. It says to write the equation and sketch the graph of a line with a slope of 2 and a y-intercept of 0, -3. So here, guys, they're referring to a linear equation, and more specifically, they are referring to the slope-intercept form. So that slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope of the line and b is the y-intercept. Well, if you've been paying attention to the problem, they already gave us the slope of the line. And they already gave us the y-intercept. We don't even have to look for these things. So all you got to do is use some substitution here and rewrite this thing as y equals 2x minus 3. So as far as the first part of the problem is concerned, we have that solved. Yeah, it's already done. They wanted us to write the equation, writing the equation of the line here. And, they gave us everything we needed. We needed a slope. We needed the y-intercept. They gave it to us. So all we got to do is plug it in. Think 2 says, I'm in the 6th grade, but this is good because it will help me in the future. Absolutely, Think 2. It will help you in the near future. Absolutely. So that means that you're in the 6th grade. You're going to the 7th next year. And no telling how fast your class will be moving. All right. You may be in an AP class. So in those AP classes that you may be in, Think 2, they will, it's possible. Yeah, it's possible that you will learn some of this in the 7th grade, depending on your 7th grade class, Think 2. Absolutely. So watching this now will help prepare you for the future. Absolutely. All right, now they want us to graph this, guys, so let's go ahead and do just that. So in graphing this, we can graph starting with the y-intercept and then using the slope to create additional points on the line. As a reminder, the slope that they gave us is 2, but we can write this slope as 2 over 1, or you can write it as -2 divided by -1. Okay, because all of those ratios are equivalent to the number 2. You will always start with the given point, however. So the given point that they gave us is 0, -3. So that's just going to be -3 on our y-axis there. Okay, so we have a point right there. And then what you'll do from there is use either form of the slope to find additional points on the line. If we use the first slope that I wrote as 2 over 1, remember that the slope is the rise over the run. The rise over the run. The rise goes up and down, whereas the run goes left to right. So from our initial point that we have graphed on the y-axis, we can go up 2 places and then over to the right 1, and we can come up with another point on the line. If we go back to our original point and use the other version of the slope where we will go down 2 and to the left 1, we'll end up with this point on the line, okay, right here. And notice how all 3 lines line up. Okay, so if you are dealing with an instructor or teacher that wants you to provide more than just 2 points on the line, that's one way that you can go about coming up with more than 2 points on your line by not only using the y-intercept with the point that they gave you, but also utilizing different versions of your slope to generate additional points on the line. Once you have this, we're going to draw a line through these points here. Oh, that's a pretty decent line, Mr. Witt, and put arrows on both ends, and this is your graph for problem number 12. Now notice, guys, and actually I have a pet peeve about this. Let me tell you about my pet peeve. I hate it, guys, when they are asking in a major exam, like a final exam, like an end of course exam, like a second semester exam, to sketch anything. I hate that word sketch, okay? Because that tells the student that there's going to be some liberties in play here as far as the graph is concerned. I hate that. I hate it. Mathematics is an exact science. So the only time I encourage students to use a sketch is when the sketch is not a part of the answer. Okay? As far as you being asked to draw anything in math, I prefer the students to draw the exact graph. And that's exactly what we did. We drew the exact graph using the exact points on that graph. A sketch could be, any line that was in that general area. And then there's a lot of gray area there. Why introduce a gray area into a math class? So I hate the fact that this problem had the word sketch in it, expecting you to come up with a graph. Instead, they just should have said to draw the graph, or graph the equation, instead of saying sketch it, because now it's up to the teacher to decide whether or not they like your graph or not, instead of you just creating the exact graph and being done with it. So be wary of that, guys. When you're in the math test, doing a math test, so anytime they say the word sketch or stuff like that, don't feel that that's a helpful thing to you. It's not, because now you're at the discretion of the teacher. Instead, give them the exact graph every time, and therefore you can walk away from the exam knowing that your answer is correct. All right. So that's my pet peeve about the word sketch in a math problem. Sketches can be useful, don't get me wrong, but not when they're asking you for the graph. Okay. If you use a sketch to help you find the answer in a math question, that's fine. That's cool. But when the teacher or the test itself is asking you to submit a graph to them, don't leave it up to them to decide whether or not your graph is good. Give them the exact graph. Okay. So that's my suggestion on that. That's my strong advice about the word sketch on any math test. Give them the exact graph every time. All right. So here we have problem number 13, guys. Let's check this out. It says if the line with equation y equals 1/3 x is shifted up 5 units, what will the new equation be? Well, let's see here. Earlier, we were talking about horizontal shifts and vertical shifts, right? So this is definitely referring to a vertical shift because it's moving upward. Okay, it's moving up. It's going to take this graph, whatever it is, and in this case, we're dealing with a line, and we're going to shift this graph up 5 places. So all you have to do is start off with that initial equation that they gave you, and I'm going to write it in black. I want to write it in black, guys. Here we go. That we'll start off with that initial equation of y equals 1/3 x, and all you have to do is just add 5. That's it. It's over. So anytime you're doing a vertical shift on any equation, you just add 5 to go up, or add a positive number, just put plus a number to go up, and then you move it down a number to go down. Okay, there you go. So Think 2 says, how does your tablet look like a composition book? Because I designed it that way. Think 2, that's how. I'm using the program called Pen Ultimate by Evernote, but what you see before you, the lines and stuff, and the tutormemath.net down here, and my logo at the top for Fort Bend Tutoring, I made that. Okay, I made that. So that's how it looks like a composition book, because I created it that way. So it is one of a kind because I designed it myself. See, I can be creative. Think 2. There you go. I like to use both sides of the brain. You know what I'm talking about? So this is the answer to problem number 13. All right. Think 2 says, I think that's cool. Thank you so much, Think 2. And don't sleep on the fact, Think 2, that there's a lot of things that you can do that are cool. All right. So you got to find out what your talents are, and you want to share that with the world. And even better, you can charge people every once in a while. Okay. And get paid off of those God-given talents. We have problem number 14, guys. In the figure, lines M and N are parallel. Angry Hermit says both sides of the brain. Actually, I think that's a myth. I will accept your challenge, Angry Hermit, and I will raise you by 3. There you go. So two transversals intersect on N, forming several angles. What is the measure of X? Now, one thing we should recognize, guys, going into this problem is that we can take advantage of the vertical angles that we have right here. All right. If they're telling us that this angle here is 46 degrees, that means based on our vertical angle rule that the angle within this has to be 46 degrees as well. All right. So this angle right here has to be 46 degrees. Yep. Or even better, because of the alternate interior angles rule, that this has to be 46 degrees right here. And because we have right here linear pairs, okay, or a linear triple in this case, there are 3 angles that are creating a line, okay? Those 3 angles combined, with your powers combined, they have to add to 180 degrees. So I'm looking at this angle X here, and this 46 degrees right here that we found either using the corresponding angle rules or the alternate interior rules with the vertical angles at first, that these 3 angles must add to 180 degrees. Angry Hermit says, no, I mean, it's a myth that creativity uses one side of the brain while logic uses the other. That very well may be true, Angry Hermit. I have no idea about that. I was just using it generically. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you. So here's going to be the equation, guys. The equation for this will read as x plus 46 has to equal to 180 degrees. So these 3 angles that we find here that are forming, all right, that are forming that line for line N, those must add to 180 degrees. And remember, they're asking us to find the measure of X. So we needed to have some type of equation written in order to solve for that X. So I'm letting you guys know that since I know that these 3 angles combined with their powers combined, thank you, with their powers combined, they form 180 degrees. Thank you. That's exactly what they do. So let's go ahead and solve this equation because that's what they want. They want us to solve for X. So let's get to solving here. So here I have my equation. Thank you. And I will be combining my like terms here. So I know that x plus x is going to give me 2x, guys. So I have 2x plus 46 equals 180 degrees. From there, we will be subtracting 46 to both sides. Now, you guys, you're going to have to watch my math on this because I don't know what that is. I'm going to have to borrow, right? So let's borrow from the 8, make that a 7, make that 0, 10. 10 minus the 6 gives me a 4. 7 minus the 4 is a 3. We end up with 134, right? Then I'm going to be dividing both sides by 2, the coefficient in front of the variable x. That's right. Then 134 divided by 2. I don't know what that is. Let's go ahead and do a little long division over here. Okay, I'm just keeping it real because I really don't know what that is. Thanks. 2 goes into 13 6 times. 6 times 2 is 12. We'll be subtracting here. I got 2 going into 14 7 times. So we end up with 67 degrees or 67 as our value for x. Amen, amen. And I'm going to red box it, ladies and gentlemen. That's exactly what we're doing here. So if you don't mind, guys, go ahead and share the stream with those people that you love, the people that you kind of know, the people that you wish you knew, and the people that you hate. Go ahead and share the stream with them peoples. Okay? Thank you. Also, like the video. Click that bell icon next to the subscribe button so you'll know when I'm going live in the near future. Thank you very much. Next live stream will be on Saturday. Thanks. Just saying. Okay. For part 2 of the 8th grade mathematics final exam review. That's right. And then, if you're able, go ahead and donate as you can, because you can help. Thank you. Get my words together. Because you can help Forbidden Tutoring. Good deal. And you can help Forbidden Tutoring get our teaching on. Thank you very much, and sharing our gifts with the world with your support. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, guys. All right, Kaylee said that she shared. Thank you. Think2 said that he already did both. Appreciate that. All right, and Tamayo is in the house. What's going on, Tamayo? Good for you to join in. Let's go ahead and give you some love. Showing the chat up in this piece, making sure everybody knows I'm not just talking to myself around here. Fantastic. So yeah, you can also find a donation link, guys, in the description box using PayPal. Amen, amen. Number 15 says, solve the system by elimination. What are these 8th graders up to nowadays, guys? They have still, I mean, we do this stuff in college algebra. Y'all already learning this stuff in 8th grade. Y'all are doing the most. You know what? Maybe I ought to revamp the curriculum in America so that instead of you guys learning the same thing over and over again between 3rd and 6th grade, that they keep progressing you guys, because by the time you're in 9th grade, you probably can be doing calculus. You know what I'm saying? I think they're taking us the kids way too slow, because a lot of this stuff is over and over again. Because you guys well know, especially older guys, you guys well know that we do this exact same thing in Algebra 1. Not only that, in Algebra 2. Not only that, we also do this in college algebra. So why is that 3 years of the same stuff? You see what I'm saying? I think they're wasting our time. Okay, so here we go. We have solved the system by elimination. So what we're going to do here, guys, is the ideal scenario is for you to already have opposite terms, either on the x terms or the y terms. Okay, so this is actually going to be a pretty simple system to solve, because we're starting out with additive inverses already. Notice that we have a positive 7x in the first equation, and we have a negative 7x in the second equation. Angry Hermit says, really? I thought college algebra was supposed to be much more advanced. College algebra is a little more advanced than algebra 2, Angry Hermit. But what I'm saying is that there is a lot of concepts that are repeated over and over and over again, and not necessarily for progression, but just for repeat's sake. You know? So Tamia says, how to be a mod. Well, let's see, Tamia. How do you become a mod? Well, you become a moderator like that. That's how you become a moderator. How you like that, Tamaya? Now you're a moderator. So let's go ahead and line these up, guys. That's what we're going to do. We're going to line these up and we're going to add them. Kayla, are you ready? Because the 7x's will cancel out. Negative 6y plus 3y gives you negative 3y. And this equals negative 9. All right. From here, we can divide both sides by negative 3. Dividing both sides by negative 3, you'll have y equals 3. Done and done. So now that you know that y equals 3, remember, guys, I informed you that when you're solving a system of equations, of linear equations, your intersection is a point. You're welcome to Mayor. Welcome to moderation. And now you want to find out what your x value is. So I'm going to plug that value of 3 in for y as an x value. So here we'll have 7x minus 6 times 3 equals negative 25. And then you can solve for x. From here, we'll be saying that the 7x minus 18, because we're multiplying the negative 6 times 3 to get negative 18, equals to negative 25. And now we want to add 18 to both sides of the equal sign. Oh, yes, we do. Oh, yes, we do. And then you'll end up with 7x equals to negative 7. Oh, they had messed up now. They have messed up because we're going to divide both sides by 7. We're going to divide both sides by 7, guys. And you're going to get x equals negative 1 for your value of x. That's right. You got it. There you go. Well, that means, oh, sorry, it's in the way. Let's go ahead and fix this. So now we know that our x value is negative 1. And so our solution is negative 1, 3. Remember, when you're writing your answer as an ordered pair, the x value must come before the y value because you're dealing with a point. There you go. Yeah. Think too. A mod, what does they do? They have access to post links and stuff like that, and also kick out people. There you go. So that's what they have to do. And since Think 2, you have been good to me. Let's see. You are also a moderator. How about that? We just getting all kind of people power up in this piece. All right. So if you see somebody acting up, Think 2, you know you can kick them out. There you go. So you have the power. The power of the people. So Tamaya says your video really did help me understand polynomials. Thank you. That's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help people. Think too. I'm trying to help people, Tamaya. That's what I'm trying to do. Angry Hermit is up in the house. Is that Chinese? That's Chinese characters there? Angry Hermit? What does that mean? Problem number 16. Problem number 16 here. With 16, it asks us to solve by the elimination method. Now, Kaylee, this is the problem you really want to check out here. And the reason you want to check this one out is because it's not as straightforward as the previous problem that we had. Oh, it's Japanese, Angry Hermit? Cool. And that being the case, we don't already have additive inverses as we did in our previous problem. Notice that none of our terms here, whether they be the x terms or the y terms, are additive inverses, aka opposites of each other. They're not. So what we want to come up with is we want to come up with a way to create additive inverses for either the x terms or the y terms. So let me show you how I go about approaching this, guys. The first thing is I'll look for the LCM, the least common multiple for the x's. That first number that 3 and 10 would go into evenly. So in this case, the first number that 3 and 10 would go into evenly is 30. All right. Cool. So Angry Hermit says, thanks, I can't speak well, but yeah. All right, good stuff. All right. Then in number, looking at our y terms here, looking at the y terms. All right. Yeah, we will end up multiplying the top as well as the bottom though, Kaylee. So what I'm doing first is I'm thinking about what I'm going to end up canceling out first. All right. So looking at the LCM of the x's, the first number that the 3 and 10 will go into is 30, right? Whereas the first number that 2 and 7 will go into is 14. And so since that's smaller, I'm going to do that first. Think 2 says, when you do the histogram vid, are you going to go live or will it just be a regular vid? Over histograms, Think 2, I may have to do that one studio. I probably won't do that one live because histograms is going to be a mouthful, and I don't know how I'll be able to explain that on the fly. So I may have to do that like in the studio or something like that. But I'll tell you this thing too, it ain't going to be coming fast, that histogram video, because I really don't like histograms. Yeah. So the things I really don't like usually get pushed to the back kind of fast. Just saying. All right. So what we'll do, Kaylee, is this. Let's cancel out the y's because this LCM is smaller. So I'm going to multiply the top equation by 7, and I'll be multiplying the bottom equation by 2. All right, they already have opposite signs there. So multiplying these out, okay, we'll end up with the following. We'll have negative 21x minus 14y equals to 91. And that's supposed to be an x on that 21 there. So that's negative 21x minus 14y equals 91. Equals 91. Let me fix this equal sign too because it's ugly. All right, that's much better. And now we'll end up multiplying the bottom equation by 2. So multiplying the bottom equation by 2, you'll end up with negative 20x plus 14y equals negative 50. Okay? What do you think about that, Kaylee? Now we'll be able to cancel out the y's. That's the whole point of doing that first part there. And what we'll do from here is we'll end up with, this is going to be negative 41x equals 41. Is that right? Is that right, guys? What you think? And now we can divide both sides by negative 41, and x equals negative 1. Okay, so now we've already solved for one of the values of our ordered pair, one of the values of our solution. Okay, so Kaylee says, I never would have guessed that. I would have never guessed that. So that is why we're here, Kaylee. So we're here to learn some stuff together. You know what I'm saying? So now that we know that x equals to negative 1, we need to find out what our value of y is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to one of the previous the previous equations, all right, from the beginning, and plug in negative 1 for x and solve for y. So that's going to be what I'm doing next. All right, Thing 2 says, Kaylee, is your circle your real face? Interesting. All right, so there it is. Here's a reference sheet for the end of course. All right, thank you, Tamaya. All right, then moving forward, we're going to plug in that negative 1 in to the first equation. So we'll have negative 3 times negative 1 minus 2y equals 13. That's what we have. All right, good stuff. And so, yes, it is, says Kaylee. All right, awesome. I think that was a compliment coming your way, Kaylee. So we have 3 minus 2y equals 13. We'll be subtracting 3 to both sides. This gives you negative 2y equals to 10, and then we'll divide both sides by negative 2. So we end up with y equals negative 5 for your value of y, guys. All right, good stuff. So that being the case, you'll have negative 1, negative 5. I'm pretty sure, Kaylee, because that's a pretty picture. So that's why they were asking. So your answer, guys, the answer is negative 1, negative 5, and done. Done and done. Good stuff. All right. Good stuff. All right. Oh, it looks like that was a warning, Kaylee, about your real face. All right. They were saying don't put your real face out there because people can find you. Well, I think Kaylee's pretty smart. I think she can keep to herself and not get found out too fast. All right, we'll have problem number 17. We have what is the standard form of the expression 8 times 10 to the negative 5th power? Okay, so what we have before us in problem number 17, guys, is scientific notation. All right, Saya, you have a good one. Thank you so much for chiming in. I appreciate it. Good stuff. Good to see you. So we're going to be converting our scientific notation into standard form. So when they're talking about standard form, guys, they're talking about the way you would normally see a number. The way you would normally see a number is what they're referring to. So all you have to do is look at the exponent on your power of 10 as a map to standard notation. So that means that I'll start out with the number 8, right? And knowing that my decimal is currently to the right of that 8, because my map is telling me to move that decimal 5 places to the left, we'll move that decimal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places to the left to our new location, okay? And you'll put zeros in these little valleys here, okay? So you'll end up with the following answer. And if you want to put a 0 in front, you can. You'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 8. So this is going to be 800 thousandths, guys. 800 thousandths. Is that the 800 thousandths? Is that the 100 thousandths place? Let's figure this out. We have one place to the right is the tenths place. Then we got the hundredths place. Then we got the thousandths place. Then we got the 10 thousandths place. I was correct, guys. That is the 100 thousandths place. There you go for problem number 17, where we're asked to convert scientific notation into standard notation. What do you think about that, guys? You know what I'm saying? I'm going to put a red box around this because I ain't scared of you guys no more. I ain't even scared. I ain't scared of these little old funky problems. You know what I'm saying? All right. Tamaya says, Mr. Witt, do you help with any other subjects? I help with other math subjects. Or are you talking about in general, like science or physics, biology, English, reading? No, Tamaya. I stay in my lane, sir. All right. Now, I have taught English and other things in the past and science as well. However, as far as my gift to the world, my gift is in the vein of mathematics, sir. I can explain math well. You know what I'm saying? And because math is a universal language, I can reach more people. Kind of hard to teach people in other countries about English if they don't want to learn English. You know what I'm saying? So math, I can hit everybody. So I'm going to stick in this math thing. Universal. We got problem number 18. With 18, it says a cylinder and a cone have congruent heights. That means that the measurements are the same. What about history? History of math, Tamia, maybe. What's going on, AM? Well, that's the deal. Hey, good job on your exam, AM. Man, you killed it. All right, good job on your. Hey, guys, I can't even pronounce his name, but anyway. Mr. Monkey, Mr. Monkey made an A on his final exam. He killed it. He made an A on his final exam. Great job. Great job. So he said he was dropping by to show some love, man. You're showing plenty of love by making those good grades, man. Making those good grades. That is amazing. All right. So here we go. We have, and you know what? Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and show Ian Monkey some love and make him a moderator because he's a good guy. He's a good guy. All right, so yeah, he killed it. Yeah, man, good. Mr. Monkey is perfectly fine to me. You got it. You will definitely be Mr. Monkey from now on. Good job on acing your final exam. I'm so proud of you, man. That is amazing. Thanks so much for letting me know. A cylinder and a cone have congruent heights and radii. All right. And what is the ratio of the volume of the cone to the volume of the cylinder? Well, guys, that means that you need to be aware of the formulas for the volume of a cone and a cylinder. The volume of a cylinder, guys, okay, the volume of a cylinder is equivalent to, let's see here, it's going to be the area of the base times the height. So that's going to be pi r squared h. There you go. All right. Whereas the volume of a cone is going to be the following. It's going to be 1/3 pi r squared times the height. Yeah, that's what's up. So that being the case, when they're asking you for the ratio of the volume of the cone to the volume of the cylinder, let's say that since all of the heights and the radii are identical to one another, we can just leave them as they are, right? When you're asked to set up a ratio, guys, the order that they're asking you to write the ratio in is important. Because they said what is the ratio of the volume of the cone to the volume of the cylinder, that means that you need to write the volume of the cone first. Now notice how they set you guys up. Okay, they're setting you up because at the beginning they mentioned the cylinder first. You see what I'm saying? They mentioned the cylinder, then they mentioned the cone, right? So you may be inclined to put the cylinder before the cone, but the ratio, when it comes down to asking the question about the ratio, they put the cone first, then the cylinder. So you have to be aware of the question when referring to the ratio, and it has to be in that order. So you have to put the cone on top. That's why. Kaylin says the formula is hard to remember. Yeah, it is. That's why you write down the formula every time you use it, Kaylee. That helps out a lot. Okay, so every time you use the formula in mathematics, write it down. That really helps out a lot. So let's set up this ratio, guys. We're going to put the cone on top. That's going to be our 1/3 pi r squared h divided by, since the radius and the heights are identical, we can use the exact same variables for those. So divided by the ratio of divided by the volume of the cylinder, which is going to be pi r squared h. Okay, what will occur, guys, is that your pi's will cancel out, the r squareds will cancel out, and the heights will cancel out. So your answer here is 1/3 as your ratio, or you can write it as 1:3 in colon notation. All right, so it depends on how the author would write the answer. So in fractional notation for your ratio, you could write it as 1/3, or you can write it in colon notation as 1:3, or you can write it in ratio notation by saying that it's going to be 1:3. So all of these are valid ways to show the ratio between the cone and the cylinder. It is 1:3. Done and done. All right, good deal. And Kayla says that she understood. She got it. Fantastic. So let's move on, guys. That was problem number 18. As we are going through the 8th grade mathematics final exam review, I have a question. It says, Mr. Witt, what college did you go to? I attended several colleges, all right? And in reversed order, I went to the University of Houston. I also went to the Portland State University. I also attended University of Phoenix. I also attended Texas Southern University. I also attended Prairie View A&M University. And I also attended Houston Community College. So I attended all of those colleges, sir. So thank you for your question. All of those colleges I attended. And I'm currently working at Houston Community College, as well as obviously Fort Bend Tutoring. There you go. So Mr. Monkey says, when I was in 8th grade, we were just doing basic multiplication tables. That's what I'm talking about, Mr. Monkey. It is it is a new day. All right. Tamaya says, Mr. Witt, do you have a fidget spinner? I have 2 fidget spinners, Tamaya. 2 fidget spinners, and you can get a look at those fidget spinners in the video that I created for fidget spinners should be allowed in schools. Problem number 19, it says, what is the value of x that satisfies the equation below, guys? We have a linear equation, and you better know what I'm about to do. You better know what I'm about to do. I'm about to get my arrows popping, guys. I'm about to get my arrows popping. The distributive property is in the house. Get your arrows popping t-shirt today. There's a link in the description box. Oh, yes, there is. Yes, there is. So here we have, guys, 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 4 is 12. We have -2 times 2x. That gives me -4x. -2 times 3 is -6. And we're going to be bringing down -4. After we distribute, that's right, Mr. Monkey, we're going to get those arrows popping. So we're going to be combining your like terms. So 3x minus 4x gives you negative x. 12 minus 6 is 6, and this equals negative 4, guys. Amen, amen. That's what's up. From here, we will be subtracting 6 to both sides of the equal sign. Oh, yes. That's exactly what we'll be doing. We'll be bringing down the negative x, and negative x equals to negative 10, and then we will be dividing both sides by negative 1. Therefore, x equals 10, guys. X equals to 10, and that is the end of that problem. Yes, it is. I'm going to put a box around this answer. There you go. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. That's right. Oh, yeah. Kaylee, Texas in the house. You already know. You already know Texas in the house. What's wrong with you, girl? You better let folks know. Tejas up in his piece. That's right. Tamaya says, I'm surprised you don't have like 1,000 people watching. You know what, Tamaya? That's a good point. However, I'm just here to help as many people that want to be helped. You know what I'm saying? These are the people that I am trying to assist, the people that want to be helped. All right. And believe it or not everybody can catch me live right now, Tamaya. So I still can catch those people that will watch the stream after it is posted on the YouTube channel. So we can help all those people out that couldn't catch it live. You know what I'm saying? So look at problem number 20, guys. Yeah, we have another system of equations. Kaylee, are you ready? Another system. Here we go. Here, guys, we're going to use the elimination method. That's right. And with this elimination method that we use in this problem, we're going to eliminate, let's say, the x's. And remember, I try to go for the terms that have the smallest, least common multiple. So when I look at the x terms, I know that the first number that they can both go into is 2. Whereas the first number the y's will go into is 4. So I'm going to always choose the smallest number. Mr. Monkey says, before I learned where you were located, I thought you were at my college. Since it's also abbreviated as HCC as well. Really? That's interesting. Wow. Kaylee says, because people would rather watch dumb stuff instead. Systems, Kaylee. That is interesting. Well, it is what it is. So let's move ahead by encouraging ourselves to be better people. And maybe they'll catch on after the fact. After they see us shining, guys. After they see us shining, then they'll start doing what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? We got to shine first, though. So here's the deal. I'm going to multiply the second equation by negative 1. Because I'm going to look for additive inverses, a.k.a. opposites, on the x terms. So I'll be bringing down 2x plus 5y, plus 4y equals to 10. That's the first equation, just bringing it down as it is. Whereas the second equation is going to be negative 2x minus 4y equals positive 10. Done and done. You already know, Kaylee. You already know. Let's go ahead and show Kaylee some love, too. This is going to be a lot of love for the moderators today, guys. So my people that's been with me for a minute, we're going to go ahead and show them some love like that. All right. So what happens at this part is the x terms will cancel out. The y terms cancel out. But on the right side, 10 plus 10 gives us 20. 20. Does 0 equal to 20, guys? Does 20 equal 0? Of course it doesn't. Right? So here's the deal. Since 0 doesn't equal to 20, that means that this is a contradiction. The system is a contradiction. It's telling me a lie. You can't tell me a lie in mathematics. What's going on, sorry? How you doing? You can't tell a lie in mathematics. Therefore, that means that this answer is no solution, guys. The answer is no solution. It is the null set. It's the empty set. There is no solution to this equation. So we will red box it. Okay, so either your answer choice will have no solution here, or it'll have the null set. Absolutely. Good stuff. Kaylee, you earned it, lady, with your loyalty and your wisdom. There you go. Thank you for being a part of the live streams on a regular, Kaylee. Appreciate you. All right, good stuff. So that's problem number 20, guys. What you think about that? Yeah, so in this problem, it was not solvable. So notice, because we were able to eliminate all the variables to get down to a statement that told us a lie. They lied to us. They told us that 0 equals to 20. You know 0 can't be 20. They're lying to you. So that's no solution. It's a contradiction. And the bottom line is, when you're looking at the graph of these two equations, you're dealing with parallel lines. Okay? So just as an example, if we know this to be two linear equations, and we know that the solution of the system is where the two lines intersect, if you have two parallel lines, guys, and they never intersect, you will never have a solution. And that's what occurred in problem number 20. We had two linear equations that were unique, they were independent, but they did not intersect. So therefore, there can't be an answer. And that's why you have no solution. And that's why we're moving on to problem number 21 up in this piece. All right, there we go. Let's keep it moving, guys. It says to find the slope of the line that passes through each pair of points. Well, once again, we are going to use a mathematics formula in order to solve it. That's right. Eventually, think too, I will get to 2 million subs, and on that day, I'll be a happy man, because that means I have touched the lives of 2 million people for sure. All right, good stuff. All right, Angry Hermit, thank you for coming by. I appreciate you stopping by again. Angry Hermit, can always count on you. I appreciate you and your Japanese, Angry Hermit. Take care. The formula for the slope of finding the formula for finding the slope of 2 points, guys, is going to be y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. And that being the case, we will label both points as x1, y1, x2, y2. There we go. And what we'll do at this point is we are going to plug in our values and simplify. Okay, so simplifying this, we'll end up with negative 6 minus 3 divided by 6 minus 3, like so. But, of course, after you plug in your values, you'll need to reduce this, right? So reducing this, we end up with negative 10 divided by 3, and you can't reduce this any further. So when asked to find the slope between 2 points, guys, your first step ought to be labeling your points. So we label the first point, x1, y1, the second point, x2, y2, and guys, it doesn't matter which one you call x1 and y1 or whatever, which one you call the first point or the second point, but I just always move from left to right. You know, I don't try to make it complicated. So whichever the first point they give me, that's going to be my first point. But it doesn't matter which point you call the first point or the second point. All right, just know that. All right. But for me, like I said, I try to manage my stress. And so whatever the first one they give me, that's the one I'm going to call the first point. Whichever the second one is, I'll call that the second point. I don't care other than that. So label your points first, then your formula for the slope is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. And from there, you plug in your values and simplify, and this is your answer. Sarwin Unsari says your videos are helpful. Thank you, Sarwin. I'll do my best to make helpful videos. It is my goal to help as many people as I can, Sarwin. So you telling me that I'm helping is patting me on the back. I appreciate that pat on that back, Sarin. All right, look at problem number 22. What you gonna do? All right. Think 2 says, bye, everyone. I'm going to do my ELL work. Thanks, Mr. Witt, for the tutor. Hey, no problem. Think 2. Take care. Mr. Monkey says, so is intermediate algebra essentially just a review before college algebra? Yes, it is. I notice it teaches a lot of what is currently taught in earlier math classes. That is absolutely correct, Mr. Monkey. Intermediate algebra is literally reviewing and getting you prepared for a college algebra class. That is correct. They are saying to you that you're supposed to already have all of those concepts in intermediate algebra mastered before you enter the college algebra classroom. Okay, so if you had to go through intermediate algebra for whatever reason, that's fine, but you want to walk out of that class as you did, having that information, all right, having that information mastered so that you can do your best in the college algebra class. All right. So that's what's going on. Take care of things, Thing 2. It's all good. Appreciate that. All right. So let's look at problem number 22, guys. And I believe, guys, that we will. Let me see. Let me check here real quick. Yeah. We're going to wrap things up today, guys. I believe. Yeah. We're going to wrap things up today, guys, with problem number 22. So I appreciate you guys chiming in with me, spending time with me today, and going through part 1 of the 8th grade mathematics final exam review. And as you guys have already noticed, those of you that are older, not in 8th grade, but in later on classes in college perhaps, that a lot of this information translates to your classes as well. All right. So it's very, very interesting how a lot of this information is repeated over time and how it is still useful to where you are in your mathematics journey. Okay, so I'm glad that you guys were wise enough to chime in, even though the title said 8th grade mathematics. You guys that are here with me today, whether you're in 8th grade or not, that you were wise enough to realize that this information could still be useful to strengthening your foundation and getting you prepared for your next academic endeavor. Good job on all of you guys. Mr. Monkey says, all right, a bit more confident signing up for that class then, though I must go all the way to Cal 3. So I don't have much of a choice. That's right. You need every bit of it, Mr. Monkey. And let me tell you something about your calculus classes that you'll be taking. The most important concepts in calculus are algebra related. So you want to make sure that you have mastered your algebra before you get into a calculus course. All right, so let's look at this last final problem that we have here. All right, so here we go. Problem number 22. It says in triangle WXY, XY is congruent to WY is congruent to XY. The perimeter of triangle WXY is 76 inches. How many inches long is the segment WX? All right. Good stuff. Well, because they told us that the segment WY is congruent to XY, that means that we can go ahead and label this side of the triangle as 3m minus 4 as far as the length is concerned. And as far as the perimeter of the triangle is, we know that all three sides combined will add to give you 76 inches. So that's exactly where our equation will come from. Your equation will be written as 3m minus 4 plus 3m minus 4 plus m must equal 76. All right. So this is us taking this geometric figure here, this triangle, them referring to the perimeter of the triangle, and us knowing that the perimeter of a triangle is the sum of all of the lengths of the sides. All right. And so we're going to find out how long our segment of WX is. In other words, we'll be solving for m. So let's go ahead and solve this equation, guys. So in the equation that we have written now, we're going to be combining our like terms. We have all of these m's to combine. We have 3m plus m. That gives you 7m. And then our negative 4 and negative 4 combined will give us negative 8. And finally, this equals 76. All right. So Mr. Monkey says, good to know. My zoology degree depends on it. Good stuff. All right. Good stuff. Yes. So you'll need to have that foundation strengthened before you get into those calculus classes, Mr. Monkey. From here, we're going to be, hey, what's going on, Mike? Good for you to chime in on us. So we'll go ahead and add 8 to both sides of the equal sign. We'll be bringing down that 7m, and 76 plus 8 gives you 84. From here, you'll divide both sides by 7 using the division principle of equality. And now the measurement for m equals 12. So Sarwan says, do I have anything on inverses? Not yet, Sarwan. I will be getting up some inverse function videos up shortly. All right, but I don't have any as of yet. So you can check out my recommended channels list for the inverse functions. So as far as the length of that side is concerned, all right, and that side length that we were searching for was WX. All right, that length is equal to our variable m, which equals to 12. And of course, we will be red boxing that answer. Thanks so much, guys, for you chiming in with us today, checking out Fort Bend Tutoring's 8th grade mathematics final exam review, end of course review, second semester review, okay? And we are going to be back on Saturday with part 2. So as always, please rate, comment, and subscribe. And thank you guys for chiming in. Thank my moderators for chiming in, like Mr. Monkey. Thank to Kaylee, as well as Angry Hermit, Tamaya, and others. Thank you guys. And Saya was in the house earlier. And you guys take care, and I will see you soon. Peace.
Thanks for watching. We appreciate you hanging out with Fort Bend Tutoring. Like the video, comment, and subscribe. Hit up our website, tutoringmath.net, and set up a private tutorial with me and FBT. Oh yeah, baby.